Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be going through a GCSE Maths Paper 1. This is a past paper from 2024. It's really good to go through past papers as you're preparing for your GCSEs. I'm going to be going through this one step by step. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I hope this helps you to revise. Okay, so the questions in a GCSE paper are always set up the same. It always starts out in the beginning, we've got these 1-mark questions. They're really straightforward. You should know them. They should help you build some confidence. So first of all, write the number 18,475 correct to the nearest thousand. My first thing would be, let's identify which number is the thousand. So here we've got our ones. The 7 is tens. The 4 is hundreds. And so our 1,000 is the 8. And so with this one, we are trying to see, let's just write this here, 18,475. Is it closer to 18,000? Or is it closer to 19,000? And when you are trying to do something like this, you will highlight the number, so the 1,000, and the number next to it on the right will tell you if you're going to round up or down. So this one, because it's a 4, it means we round down. Anything less than 5, we round down. So this is going to be rounded to just 18,000. Question 2 is write 0.3 as a percentage. So if you want something as a percentage, that percentage is your clue. You always have to then times it by 100. So 0.3, we are going to times it by 100. Obviously, we don't have a calculator here, but if we're going to times something by 100, we can also just move the decimal. So I'm going to move the decimal place 2 spaces, 1, 2, which means it's going to end up being 30%. Question 3, write down the mathematical name for the type of angle marked y. So we are looking at this really big angle here. So we can see this angle it's bigger than 180, but smaller than 360. We call that a reflex angle. So that would obviously be one that you just have to know. But that being said, if you don't know that when you're writing your exam, I would leave it and come back to it later. It's only 1 mark, so I wouldn't let that stress you out. Just keep going and get as much as you can down on the paper. Okay, write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. Okay, with these kind of questions, I like to just write it without. First of all, what I would do is I make sure they all have the same number of decimal places. So here we've got this 0.21. So I'm going to put a 0 here. Doesn't matter if you put a 0 there. Just helps me to see these better. 0.03, that's 2 decimal places. I will put a 0 here. So that's going to be 10 and 0.16. And then I'd basically just pretend I don't see the decimal place. That's what helps me to see these things. So I'm going to say we've got 21, 20, 3, 10, and 16. And then it's really easy then to order it from smallest to biggest. So obviously the smallest is this 3. So we're going to write 0.03. Next up, we've got 10, so 0.10. Or you can write it without the 0, 0.1. Then we've got the 16, so 0.16. 0.2 next for the 20. And then finally is the 0.21. So I just find it easier to write it like this. If that helps you, then that's great. Then you've got a technique for these ones. Find the square root of 64. So you should know these straight away. But if you don't know square numbers, if you're not quite sure, in the exam, what I would do is I would start. So I would say, let's say 2 times 2 gives me 4. So that's one square number. Then I would test 3 times 3 gives me 9. 4 times 4 gives me 16. 5 times 5 is 25. So if you don't know it straight away, we're testing. We're working out a few square numbers. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. So we are getting closer here. 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, so we can see then the square root of 64 is 8. You might know that straight away. It's just a method if you don't know it straight away, how you could find that out. Question 6. Ryan buys 4 cakes at £1.30 each, 2 identical tins of soup. He pays with a £10 note and he gets £1.80 change. So we want to know how much did the tins of soup cost. Okay, so first of all, let's work out what we do know. So we know the cake cost. So 4 cakes at £1.30. Let's work out how much that costs. So that is obviously going to be 4 times £1.30. So you can work this out multiplying or adding. I'm just going to add these ones. So £1.30. Another cake at £1.30. Let's see. That's 0. That's 6. And that is 2. Okay, so that's 2 cakes. Let's add another cake. £1.30. 0. That's 9. That's 3. And then let's add another cake. The final cake. 0 and 0. 9 and 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 and 3 is 4. Add the 1 is 5. Okay, so that is our 4 cakes. Would have cost £5.20. And then we can see, so he pays with the £10 notes and he gets £1.80 change. Okay, so let's work out then how much the soups cost. So, £10 take away the £1.80. Zero. You're gonna have to borrow here. That's 9. 10 take away 8 is 2. 9 take away 8. Oh, sorry, 9 take away 1 is 8. Okay, so that is how much he spent. So he spent £8.20. We know that the cakes cost this. So cakes plus soup cost £8.20. We know that the cakes was £5.20. So that means the soup had to be £3, because that would add up to our £8.20. Okay, so our soup is £3. It was £3 for 2 tins. He wants to know how much is 1 tin. So £3 for 2 tins. They're identical tins, so they cost the same. So that means each tin is half of £3, which is £1.50. And with the bar charts, we always have the number on here. So we're going to have hours worked on the left. And then on the bottom, we are going to have the days of the week. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. With a bar chart, we have gaps between the columns. So we are going to leave a gap. We're going to write, these ones are going to be Wednesday here. Then we leave a gap. These are going to be Thursday. Leave a gap. These are going to be Friday. Is that all the days that we had? And Saturday. Okay, so Saturday, leave a gap, and Saturday. Okay, and then we do have two people here, so let's draw a key so we know who is who. So let's do Lena in red, and then Pavel we can do in yellow. If you were in the exam and you didn't have colors with you, you could maybe just do like Lena colored in and Pavel you could leave his blank. That could be how you do your key. Okay, and this is just label it there, that's our key. Okay, let's fill this in. So we've got Lena works on Wednesday, she works 6 hours. On Thursday, she works 9 hours. So let's draw these in. Okay, Lena on Wednesday. Oh, sorry, we need to do our labels here. So let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, Lena works 6 hours on Wednesday. And on Thursday, she works 9 hours. Sorry, I don't have a ruler on when I'm drawing on the computer here, so it is a little bit skew. And then you kind of just shade it in a bit. And then what did she work the rest? She worked 8 on Friday and 6 on Saturday. So Friday. And 6 on Saturday. Okay, and then we just do exactly the same for Pavel. So generally students are pretty good at this. You just gotta make sure you've got the labels in the right place. So let's just fold these in quick. So Pavel is 7 on Wednesday. 6 on the Thursday. 5 and then 6. Okay, and with a question like this, generally, let's see how many marks they are. So 4 marks. So you're going to get marks for this one for having kind of the right shape for these bars, for having hours worked there, and that, and then also for having a key for Lena and Pavel. Question 8. So we've got a few angles, a few lines here. So OA, OB, and OC are 3 straight lines. Work out the size of the angle marked X. Okay, so we can see these angles here. They are all angles around a point, so they all have to add up to 360. So X is the only one that's missing, so we can just say 360, take away the 220, take away 90, will give me my missing X. So if we work this out, 360, take away the 220, 0 take away 0 is 0, 6 take away 2 is 4, 3 take away 2 is 1. And then we take away the 90, 0 take away 0, 0, 4 take away 9 we can't do. So it's going to be 14 take away 9, which is 5. Okay, so our missing angle is X is 50 degrees. Give a reason for our answer. So a reason for this answer is angles around a point. add up to 360 degrees. Of course, with this one, they are I think that's the only way we could have done this one. I was just wondering if there's something else, but I think that's the only way we could have done that one. Question 9. Here is a number machine. So you have an input, you times it by 2, you subtract 10, and you get an output. Work out the output when the input is 13. So they're saying we put 13 here, we times it by 2, so 13 times 2 gives us 26. We take away 10, and we get the output, which is 16. That one is 16, and then usually they ask you to work backwards, which is what they do here. So next they say, work out what the input would have been if you had an output of 28. So that means you have 28, we're going to work backwards, so we do the opposite thing. So instead of taking away 10, we are going to add 10. That is going to give us 38. And then instead of timesing by 2, we are going to divide by 2. 38 divided by 2 is 15 and 4, 19. Sorry, 38 divided by 2 is 19. You can always, on that one, go back and check yourself. So you can check if you do it the right way around, does it work out? So 19 times 2 is 38. Take away 10 is 28. So you can see you do get the right output with that. Okay, so for this question, we've got to find some number where it's an input times 2, take away 10, we get the output. So you can just play around with these, put in a few different numbers, see what you get out. What I would do is I find it a bit easier to think of it as an algebraic equation. So I would say, let's say we put in x. So it's going to be x times 2 minus 10. And we want the output to be the same. So we want the answer to be x at the end. So let's see what number works out like that. So we can simplify this a bit. So 2 times x, we can write that as 2x minus 10 is equal to x. We want the x's on one side, the numbers on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 10 across. We were subtracting 10. When we take it across, we're going to add 10. So it's going to be 2x is equal to x. Add 10. Now we want the x's on one side. Let's take this x across. So it's going to be 2x take away x is equal to 10. 2x take away x means x. And so x is equal to 10. And so this is actually showing us when we put in 10 here. So if I put in 10 to the input, times it by 2, I'm going to get 20. Take away 10, and it's going to give me 10 for my output. So we can see this is the number. The input is the same as the output. Question 10. There are 24 cows and 36 sheep on a farm. Write as a ratio the number of cows to the number of sheep. Give your ratio in its simplest form. Okay, so we want cows to sheep in a ratio. So cows to sheep. They are 24 cows and they are 36 sheep. So that is a ratio. That would be your first mark just for putting it in the right order like this, cows to sheep. They say give it in its simplest form, which means we've got to simplify this. All that means is divide both sides by the same number. So let's see. What can we divide both of these by? These, I always say to my students, if you're not sure, try divide by 2, 3, or 5. So these ones you could divide by 2, 3, or 5 and keep doing that. This one, I can see they are both in the 6 times tables. So 24 divided by 6 would give me 6, 12, 18, 24. So it's 4 times. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Okay, so it's 4 to 6. And then we can see actually we can simplify these further. So we can divide them by 2 again. And let's do that. Just keep simplifying as far as we can. Divide both of them by 2. And we're going to get our final answer here. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our final ratio here is 2 to 3. 11a, work out negative 12 divided by negative 4. Okay, so negative 12 divided by negative 4. A negative and a negative, when you divide them, it gives you a positive. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So you can just write 3 for this one. Find the value of 2 to the 5. So they're checking that you know what to do with that. So that means that 2 to the 5 means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 5 2's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is going to be 4. If we times it by 2 again, it's going to be 8. Times it by 2 again will be 16. Times by 2 again, it's going to be 32. Okay, let's just circle that so we can see it's not actually a fraction or anything there. You might know this one straight away, so you don't actually have to show any work in there. It's just 1 mark. If you knew straight away that it is 32, that's also fine. Okay, write 1 pair of brackets in this calculation so that the answer is correct. Okay, so 30 divided by 3 plus 2 minus 4 gives me 2. Okay, this one we'll probably just have to play around with a bit. So 30 divided by 3, that would be the first thing we would do anyway. We have to always do division first. So 30 divided by 3 is going to be 10. If we just add 2, take away 4, that's going to be 12, take away 4 is 8. Okay, so that one doesn't work. I think how we could do it is we need to make this number bigger here, this division. So I think what we can do is we're going to say like this. Put the brackets in there, because then it's going to be 30 divided by the brackets, which is 5. Take away 4. Let's test that out. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Take away 4 will give us 2. So that is the right place for our brackets there. Question 12. The diagram shows a triangle and a rectangle. The perimeter of the rectangle is a quarter of the perimeter of the triangle. Work out the length of the rectangle. Okay, so we're getting into the slightly longer questions now. You can see this question is worth 4 marks. They're asking you for quite a lot of steps, but if you can put down as much as you do know, even if you don't get the final answer, you will get some marks. So let's just break this down first. So we need the perimeter of the rectangle and the perimeter of the triangle. If you're having a look at, obviously we have this missing side for the rectangle. So we can't do much with the rectangle yet, but the triangle, we have all the sides. So let's start off by working out the perimeter of the triangle. Okay, I know a lot of students, when you get to these questions, they're really long, there's lots of words, lots of things being asked. It's easy to panic, but you know the perimeter of a triangle, you do know. So get as much as you do know down on the paper, because you can easily get 2 or 3 out of 4 rather than just leaving it blank. Okay, so the perimeter of a triangle, perimeter of any shape, is we just add all the sides. Okay, so in this case, our perimeter of our triangle is going to be 36 centimeters, add 30 centimeters, add 14 centimeters. Okay, so 36 add 30, that is going to be 66 centimeters. Add the 14, it's going to be 80 centimeters. Okay, and then the next thing they tell us is that the rectangle, the perimeter of the rectangle, is a quarter of this. So we can then work out the perimeter of the rectangle. And so it's a quarter of 80 centimeters. How we work out a quarter? A quarter is we just divide by 4. So it's going to be 80 centimeters divided by 4, which is 80 divided by 4, or 8 divided by 4 is 2. 80 divided by 4 is 20 centimeters. So that is the perimeter of our rectangle. And then let's find the missing length. So let's first of all draw our rectangle. So our rectangle it looks like this side is 4 centimeters. They give that to us. So this side is also. And we don't know the length. So let's just make it X for now. Make it whatever you want. And then we know we've just worked out that the perimeter, if we add all the sides here, is 20 centimeters. So now all we got to do is find the missing length. So what I would say is I'm going to say 20 centimeters, take away the 4, take away the 4, is going to give me 2x. It's going to give me these two sides. Okay, so 20 take away 4 is 16. Take away another 4 is 12. So 2x is equal to 12. We want just one length. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. So this is going to be 6 centimeters. So we can see, we can replace these here. These sides here, it's 6 centimeters here for this length and 6 centimeters there. And then if you add all of these, you get 20 centimeters. So our final answer for this is one length is 6 centimeters. Question 13. There are only £10 notes and £20 notes in a wallet. Ali takes at random a note from the wallet. Write down the probability that Ali takes a note with a value of more than £5. Okay, so there are only £10 notes and £20 notes. So they are all more than £5. So the probability that he takes something more than £5 is 100%. He will definitely take something more than £5. Next up, there are only 1p coins and 2p coins in a bag. Total value of the coins in the bag is 40p. The total value of the 1p coins is the same as the total value of the 2p coins. Okay, so this is total value is 40p. The value of the 1p coins is the same as the value of the 2p coins, which means if it has to be 20p in 1p coins, 20p in 2p coins. Now we just need to work out how many coins that means. So 20p worth of 1p coins, that is obviously just going to be 20 coins. So that's 20 1p coins would make 20p. And 20p worth of 2p coins, that is going to be 10 2p coins. So then Simon takes at random a coin from the bag. Find the probability that Simon takes a 1p coin. That's really straightforward. It's just how many 1p coins are there? There are 20 1p coins. Out of how many coins in total? In total, there are 30 coins. okay, because they are 21p, 10 2p. So 20 out of the total of 30. Or you can simplify it, but you don't have to. You can say 2 over 3. Okay, multiplication question. Work out 273 times 54. So I know everyone's got different methods for working out multiplication. It doesn't matter how you work this out. I'm going to show you my method. If you have a different method, then do your method and then just check we get the same answer. Okay, so the important thing is just lining it up nicely like this. My method, what I do is I go like this. So I'm going to work with this 4 first. So 4 times 3 is 12. Then I'm working with the 4 and the 70. So I'm going to add a 0. 4 times 7, 7, 14, 21, 28. And then finally, I'm doing 4 times 200. So I'm going to add my 2 zeros. 4 times 2 is 8. Then I'm going to get a different color here, and I'm going to switch to this 5. Okay, so this is a 50. So I'm going to go 50 times 3. So add my 0 first. 5 times 3 is 15. Then I'm going 50 and 70. So I'm going to add 2 zeros. 5 times 7 is 35. And then I need to add 3 zeros. 5 times 2 is 10. And once I've got all that, then my next step is I have to add up these amounts. Okay, so in this column, we've just got 2. This one, 1 and 8 is 9. 9 add 5 is 14. 1 and 2 is 3. 3 and 8 is 11. 11 add 1 is 12. 12 add 5 is 17. 1 and 3 is 4. And this column, we've just got the 1. And this is then our final answer, 14,742. So as I said, if you've got a different method working it out, it's no problem. They don't care how you work it out. Just make sure we get that same answer. Okay, question 15. Tessa recorded the times that 15 adults took to complete a run. She showed her results in a stem and leaf diagram. Okay, and then we've got this key. So 4, 5, that represents 45 minutes. So we can see here, we've got 45 minutes, 49 minutes, 53 minutes, 57 minutes, and they want us to find the median. So median means the middle number. What I would probably do with this one, you don't have to, but I find it easier to write all these numbers. So we've got 45, 49, 53, 57, 58. So you can see I'm just reading here, like 58. And all the 60s, 61, 62, 64, 65, 67, 67, and all the 70s, 72, 76, 77, and 81. There are 15 adults. So how we find the median is we're just going to start crossing off on either side. So I cross off 1 on this side, 1 on the other side. 1, 1, 1, 1. We're just trying to find the middle number here. And so this is our middle number, 64. So just as a note, median is your middle number. Just to show you, you can do it just on the stem and leaf diagram. You don't necessarily have to rewrite it. So you would just cross out 1, 1, and you'll still get that 64. I just find it a little more straightforward when all the numbers are set out for me. Okay, find the range. So the range they're testing, do you know? So range is always the biggest minus the smallest. So in this case, our biggest number was 81. Our smallest number was 45. So we're just going 81 minus 45. We have to borrow 11, take away 5 is 6. 7 take away 4 is 3. So 36 is our range. And then Tessa also reported. Okay, so we know we worked out the median for the adults. The median for the adults was 64. Let's just write that down. Adult median was 64. The children median was 75. They haven't really told us very much. We can't really make any big calls about this. All we can say was that the children had a higher median. That's all we can compare for that one. Question 16. Batteries are sold in packs of 4, in packs of 8, and in packs of 12. A pack of 4 batteries costs £1.80, a pack of 8 batteries costs £3.20, and a pack of 12 batteries costs £6. Which pack gives the best value for money? You must show how you get your answer. So when you're working with products like this, if you're trying to find what is the best value for money, what you want to try find is what is the cost of just one battery in each of these. So I would look at the pack of 4 first. The pack of 4, we know it costs £1.80. We want to work out how much is the cost of one battery in this pack. So how you would do that is one battery is going to be £1.80 divided by 4. And £1.80 divided by 4, we have to then work out. So how many times does 4 go into 1? It does not. How many times does 4 go into 18? So that's 4, 8, 12, 16. So it goes in 4 times. Remainder 2. How many times does 4 go into 20? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. It goes in 5 times. And so we can see the cost of one battery in this pack is going to be 45p. Okay, so we can put it here. This one is going to be 45p. And then let's look at the next one. We're going to look at the pack of 8. So the pack of 8 costs £3.20. We want to work out how much does one battery cost in that pack. So it's going to be £3.20 divided by 8, because there's 8 in this pack. This division, it looks a little bit scary because of that decimal, but it's just as you would usually do it. So how many times does 8 go into 3? It does not. What's your decimal place? How many times does 8 go into 32? So it's 8, 16, 24, 32. It goes in there 4 times. How many times does 8 go into 0? 0. So in this pack, one battery is going to be 40p. Okay, the 8 pack is 40p. Then let's just work out the 12 pack. Which they go for £6. So one battery is going to be that's £6 divided by 12. How many times does 6 go into 1? It does not. How many times does 6 go into 12? It goes in there twice. No, sorry, I've done this one wrong. I've switched these around. Okay, it's not £12, it's £6. So the cost of the batteries, it's £6 divided by the 12 batteries. Sorry about that. How many times does 12 go into 6? It does not. How many times does 12 go into 60? So that's 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. It goes in there 5 times. How many times does 12 go into 0? It does not. So this one is 50p. Excuse me. Okay, so you can see with that one, I was getting quite a strange answer. I was getting that each battery was £2. So then I knew I'd switched around my division there. Okay, so this one is 50p per battery. Okay, so which pack gives the best value for money? That would be this 8 pack. And we have shown how we got our answer for that one. So best value means it's the cheapest per battery. So that is the cheapest per battery, that one. Okay, question 17 is an algebra question. They want us to solve this. Okay. So first of all, we've got to get rid of these brackets. So we're going to multiply these out. So 2 times 4x is going to be 8x. 2 times negative 5 is going to be negative 10 is equal to 18. When we're trying to solve something, we're always trying to get x by itself on one side and numbers. So this is the form we're looking for. It's always x is equal to some numbers. So let's take that 10 across. So we do the opposite. So it was minus 10. When we take it across, we're going to add 10. So it's going to be 8x is equals to 18, add 10, which is then 28. So 8x is equal to 28. And then we want x by itself. So we're going to say x was times 8x. When we take it across, we're going to divide. So it's going to be x is equal to 28 divided by 8. So let's just see then how we can simplify that. So we've got then, let's just get a different color. x is equal to 28 over 8. 28 divided by 8. Let's work this out with a division tree. So 28 divided by 8. 8 goes into 2 0 times. 8 goes into 28. It is 8, 16, 24. So it goes in 3 times. And we got our remainder. So our remainder is, it goes in 3 times remainder 4. And 8 goes into 40. That is 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. It goes in there 5 times. Okay, so it simplifies quite nicely, this one. So x is 3.5. Question 18, write down the value of 10 to the power of 0. This is an index law that you have to know. Anything to the power of 0 is just 1. So 10 to the power of 0 is just 1. Question 19. Okay. So we've got these shapes A and B. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So we can see the shape, it hasn't changed size, it hasn't rotated, it's not a reflection, it's just been moved. So this is a translation. And all we need to do is give the coordinates, so how it moved. So this is going to be a translation. And how we write it is we say, where did it move in terms of x? So I'm just going to look at this bottom point. It moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's my x, how it moved. And then it also moved down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down. That's how you always write translations. You have the x and then the y's. Here are the first 4 terms of an arithmetic sequence. So 1, 5, 9, 13. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term of the sequence. So how you go about finding this is you always have to work out first of all what's the difference between these. So every time 1 add 4 gives me 5. 5 add 4 gives me 9. 9 add 4 gives me 13. So that is what I'm going to put in front. So it's going to be 4n. I just need to figure out then what do I have to do to get them. So if I put in the first term, so 4 times 1 gives me 4. And then to get to this one, I have to take away 3. Will give me 1. Let's check it again. 4 times 2, the second term, is 8. Take away 3 will give me that 5. So that's right. Okay, so then this means our general term is 4 times n, take away 3. Then we've got some fraction questions. So work out 3 and 4/5, take away 1 and 2/3. With a question like this, first of all, we always have to convert it to improper fractions. That is our first step. And then we need to make the bases the same or make the denominators the same because we can't subtract otherwise. So make the denominator, the bottom number, the same. So that is find equivalent fractions. Okay, so first of all, let's just change these into improper fractions. So 3 and 4/5. How you change it to an improper fraction is you're going to go the big number times the bottom number. 3 times 5 is 15. Add the top number. 15 add 4 is 19. And the base always stays the same. So we're going to have 5 at the bottom there. And then next up we've got 1 and 2 over 3. We also need to convert that. So exactly the same process. We're going to go 1 times the bottom number. So that's times 3 is 3. Add 2, it's 5 over 3. The base always stays the same. So now our expression has become 19 over 5 minus 5 over 3. So we've done this first part. We've converted them to improper fractions. Now we need to make both of them have the same base. So I would convert both of these to something over 15. So let's try convert them. So 19 over 5. If we want an equivalent fraction, we want something over 15. All we do is whatever we did to the base, we do to the top. So 5 times 3 will give me 15. At the top, 19 times 3. Okay, which is going to be 19 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 1 is 3. So that is 57. Okay, so 57 over 15. And then we've got to convert the other fraction as well. 5 over 3. We want it to be something over 15. What do we do to the base? We times it by 5. So at the top, we have to times it by 5 too. So 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, which means then we've got 57 over 15, take away 25 over 15. And we can just subtract the top. So 57 take away 25. Seven take away 5 is 2. 5 take away 2 is 3. So it's going to be 32 over 15. Or you can then convert it back to a mixed number. So how many times does 15 go into 32? It goes in twice. Remainder 2 over 15. Okay, and then Kevin was asked to work out this. Here is his working and his answer. Kevin's answer is wrong. What mistake has Kevin made? Let me just clear up some space here. Okay, so first of all, we're going to just check what he did here. So here, first of all, he converted this into an improper fraction, which is a good step. Let's just check he did that right. So 2 and 1 over 3, when we convert it, it should be 2 times 3 is 6, add 1 is 7. So you should get 7 over 3. So that is right. And the 5 over 8 is fine. Then when we are timesing, we should do 7 over 3 times 5 over 8. Let's just work this out, what we should get. So 7 times 5, we should get 7 times 5 is 35. And 3 times 8 is 24. So far he is right. That is also right for that step. So this final step must have been where you got it wrong. So 35 divided, but we have to convert this into a mixed number. So how many times does 24 go into 35? It goes in there once. And all I got wrong there, I think, must have been the remainder. So 24, it goes in once. What's the remainder? So 24, let's just see. 35, take away 24. 5 take away 4 is 1. 3 take away 2 is 1. So the remainder is 11 over 24. That is what we got wrong here. Just that. So what mistake has Kevin made? He incorrectly converted 35 over 24 to a mixed number. And it should be 1 and 11 over 24. The diagram shows a plan of the floor. Peter is going to cover the floor with paint. He has Petra. She has 3 tins of paint. There are 2.5 liters of paint in each tin. Petra thinks 1 liter of paint will cover 10 square meters of floor. Assuming Petra is correct, does she have enough paint to cover the floor? You must show all your working. Okay, so this is one of those scary ones because there's a lot going on here. And you can see in the marks is 4 marks. Okay, so as soon as you get a question like this, you know we're looking at probably area or perimeter. Let's quickly work out what these missing sides are here. So we have all our information on hand. So if this total length across here is 10, as they give us here, and this part here is 6, it means this missing value here has to be 4. Okay, because 6 and 4 will make 10. So we just quickly work that out. And then the same thing for the other missing value. We've got the total value here is 8. And we've got this part here is 5. So this missing part here has to be 3. Okay, because 5 add 3 will give us that total of 8. Okay, so that's our first step. Just find all the values that we're working with. Okay, our clue, if you weren't sure what we're supposed to work out here, is she's trying to cover the floor with paint. And she thinks it will cover 10 meters squared. That 10 meters squared, that meters squared is our clue. We need area. Okay, so we want to work out the area of this floor. So first step, let's just work out what is the area of this floor. And you can do it in a few ways. What I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to break this into 2 shapes. You can break it like this and do shape 1 and shape 2. Doesn't matter how you break it up, you should get the same answer. You can also break it like this. Shape 1 and shape 2. So whichever one you want. Let's work out the area. So the area of shape 1, as we've labeled it now, it's 5 meters by 10 meters. Okay, so area is always the length times the width. Length times width. Write that down because you will get a mark for knowing that formula. So it's 10 meters by 5 meters, which is 50 meters squared. That is the area of 1. Let's look at the area of shape 2. Again, length times width. Now we're working with 6 meters by 3 meters. So 6 times 3 is 18. And then we can quite easily find the total area We just add these. So 50 and 18, 68 meters squared. Okay. Then let's work out how much paint she's got. So these ones, they really are long, these ones. You just got to go through it step by step, work out as much as you can. So paint, she's got 3 tins. Of 2.5 liters. So that's 3 times 2.5. 2.5, 5, 7.5. So she's got 7.5 liters of paint. She thinks 1 liter of paint will cover 10 square meters. So that means if we've got 7.5 liters, you see what we're doing here is just times 10. So here we just times 10. So she can cover 75 square meters of floor. And the question then is, assuming she's correct, does she have enough paint to cover the floor? And she does. So let's put that down. So Petra needs to cover 68. That's what we worked out was the area. Yeah, we worked out that's the area of the floor. She has enough for 75. So the answer is yes, she has enough. More than enough. Actually, 1 liter of paint will cover 11 meters squared of floor. Does this affect your answer to part A? You must give a reason for your answer. So it does not affect our answer. So no. What this means is it will cover even more. She already had enough paint. Now, let's just put it like this. Okay, so 1 liter is 11 square meters. So that means 7.5 liters, which is what she has. It's going to be times 11. Okay, I don't think you need to do this working out. I think you can just say she already has more than enough. But 7.5 times 11 means we're going to have 82.5. She has more than enough. The answers stayed the same there for that one. Question 23. Here is a Venn diagram. So you can see we've got two sets, P and Q. And all these numbers, write down the numbers that are in the set P apostrophe. So that P apostrophe is a funny way of saying not P. So we want all the numbers that are not in P. So I would just circle everything that's not in P. These ones, these are all the ones that are not in the circle P. Let's just do that and say That is our set P. So everything is fine there. And then it's just good practice to write it from smallest to biggest. So we've got 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, and 17. A number is chosen at random from the universal set. Find the probability that this number is in the set P or Q. Okay, so basically we want all the numbers that are in P or in Q as these ones. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 in that P or in Q. And how many numbers are there in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers in total. So the probability is 5 out of the total of 9. Question 24. Sophie drives a distance of 513 kilometers on a motorway in France. She pays 0.81 euros for every 10 kilometers she drives. Work out an estimate for the total amount that Sophie pays. So this estimate always means you round the numbers and you always round at the start. So I'm going to say this 513 kilometers. Let's round it down to just 500. That'll make our lives a lot easier. And then 0.81 euros. We round that just to 0.8 euros, because it also makes it pretty easy for us. Okay, so how we would work this out is we can say 513 kilometers, it's every 10 kilometers she drives. So first I'm going to say 500 divided by that 10 kilometers is 50 times by that 0.8 euros that she pays. This is not too difficult to work it out. We're just going to say 50 times 8. And just remember, in your answer, you need one decimal place. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. So this answer is going to be like that, and we need one decimal place. So it would be 4 zeros. Is the answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? So let's just see, in both cases, we rounded, let's see, 513 to 500, we rounded down. 0.81 to 0.8, we also rounded down. So this is going to be an underestimate. Always values were rounded down. Question 25. There is a straight line L drawn on a grid. Find an equation for L. Okay, so when we're looking for a straight line equation, which you need to have in the back of your head, is this y is equal to mx plus c. You have to know that, otherwise you're not going to get very far. The c value is usually the easiest to find. So the c is the constant. So c is constant. It is also the y-intercept. So where does this line touch the y-axis? So you can see here, pretty straightforward. It's at 3. And so all we say is we just say y is equal to mx plus 3. Then all we have to do is we have to find the value for m. So we have to find the gradient. That gradient is another thing you have to know the equation for. Okay, so we need the gradient or the slope. It is this m. And how we find the gradient is we choose 2 points. So I just choose to make my life easier, I just choose the 2 intercepts. So this is the point 0, 3. This here is the point minus 2, 0. And then you're going to say m is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So let's work this out then. If we sub in some values, so let's say this is x1 and y1. This is x2 and y2, just so we know what we're working with. So y1 is this 0, y2 is 3. Try x1 is -2, x2 is 0. We just got to work this out. So at the top of 0, take away 3 is -3. At the bottom, -2, take away nothing is -2. And so we've got -2, 3 over 2. And minuses cancel, so we're just got 3 over 2. And so that is our gradient for this line. So y is equal to 3 over 2 x plus 3. Sorry. M is a different straight line with the equation y equals 5x. Write down the equation of a straight line parallel to M. So if something is parallel, it means that the gradient is the same. So we can choose any line we want. We just need the gradients to be the same. So we can write down any line you like. Y is equal to 5x. And you just add any constant. So you can add 1 or you can take away 1. Add 5, take away 5. It doesn't matter as long as this line, as this gradient is the same, then they will be parallel lines. Question 26. Kasim has some small jars, some medium jars, and some large jars. He has a total of 400 jars. 3/8 of the 400 jars are empty. And then for the empty jars, we have ratios. Work out the percentage of Kasim's jars that are empty small jars. Okay, so these questions now, we're getting really long, lots of words, lots of things to do. This is, if we check the marks here, it is a 5-mark question. So although it can be intimidating when it is such a big question like this, it means there's lots of opportunities to get marks. So what we're going to do first of all is we want how many jars are empty. So what we're going to work out is total empty. And we said 3/8 of the 400 jars are empty. So we can work this out. Okay, how we work out this question is what we say is always 400 divided by the bottom number, so divide by 8. Okay, and we can just draw a quick division house like this. So how many times does 8 go into 4? It doesn't. How many times does 8 go into 40? So that is 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So that goes in 5 times. How many times does 8 go into 0? 0. So that is 50. So we divide it by the bottom number, and then we multiply it by the top. So 150 empty jars. Okay, so this would already be 1, potentially even 2 marks just for working that out. Now they say for the empty jars, we have ratio small to medium is 3/4. Medium to large is 1/2. Work out the percentage of Kasim's jars that are empty small jars. Okay, so let's just write these ratios down quick so we can see what we're working with. So we've got small to medium is 3 to 4. Medium to large is 1 to 2. I think what I want to try doing is I want to try and get these into a ratio where we've got small, medium, and large next to each other. So let's use equivalent ratios. So I'm going to try and make both of them, make the medium have a number of 4. Okay, so we're going to keep this one as is. What you can do with ratios is you can use equivalent ratios. So it's just like equivalent fractions. So if I wanted an equivalent ratio for this, I want the number of medium jars to be 4. I'm just going to say this side times 4. So that is going to be 4 medium. And then if it's an equivalent ratio, you just do the same to both sides. So I'm going to times this by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Because then I have the medium is the same for both of them. So I can rewrite my ratio with all of them and say my small jars to my medium jars to my large jars is a ratio of 3 for medium and 8 large. Okay, so that is my ratio for all of them. What we are trying to work out is how many small jars there are that are empty. So we know in total, these parts add up to 150 empty jars. We want to work out just how many small jars there are. So what I would do is, this is a total, so I'm going to divide by the total number of parts. So this total here is 3 and 4 is 7, 7 and 8 is 15. So I've got 15 parts here. So then what you do is 150 jars divided by 15 parts. So 150 divided by 15, it's going to be 10. And then we can multiply that into our ratio here. So we said our ratio is small to medium to large is 3 to 4 to 8. So that means we're going to go 3 times 10, because this is 1 part. I want 3 parts. It's going to be 30 small empty jars. Okay, and then I think we're still not finished actually, because this is a long question. So I don't have any small space there, but we'll get some more space now. Look at the percentage of these jars that are empty small jars. Okay, so we have 30 small empty jars. Now we've just got to work out, this is out of the total of 400. So 30 small empty jars out of the total of 400. Let's just do it like this. So 30 out of the total of 400. And if you want percentage, you have to times it by 100. Okay, so let's make it a bit simpler for ourselves. So we can cancel the 0 here. So 3 over 40. We just need to work that out. So 3 divided by 40. I'm just going to add my decimal place straight away because I know I'm going to be needing it. How many times does 40 go into 3? It does not. How many times does 40 go into 30? It does not. How many times does 40 go into 300? So that is Sorry. 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240, 280. So that goes in there 7 times. I made it 20. And then how many times does 40 go into 200? So you can think of this as like a 4 times table. So 40, 80, 120, 160, 200. So it goes in there 5 times. Okay, so that is 0.075. Then we times it by 100, which means we just move the decimal place. So this is going to be 7.5%. So 7.5% of those jars are small and empty. We are given £280. That's the sales price. That is when it's 30% has been taken off. So that is 70%. We want 100%. First, what I would do is I'm going to work out 10% because that's really easy to get to that. Again, it's basically just like an equivalent ratio or an equivalent fraction. We just do the same to both sides. So this side I have to 70 divided by 7 will give me 10%. Let's do the same here. £280 divided by 7, or 28 divided by 7. So 7, 14, 21, 28 goes in there 40 times. So 10% would be 40, but I want 100%. So let's see, what do we have to do to get to 100%? We have to times both sides by 10. £40 times 10 is £400. We can see this was the normal price before the 30% was taken off. Question 28 is an inequality question. So solve for this. Let's have a look at it. So with an inequality question, it looks intimidating because obviously we got the inequality sign, but it's exactly the same as usual. We want to try and get x by itself and then the numbers by itself. That's what we're aiming for. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take the x's to one side and the numbers to the other side. So in this case, I'm going to keep it at x. I'm going to take that plus 11 across. So when I take it across, it's going to be minus 11. Let's just do that for now. So 5 minus 11 minus half x. Then next, I'm going to take that negative half x across. So it's going to be plus half x. So it's going to be x plus a half x is less than 5 take away 11 is negative 6. So if we simplify this side, this is going to be 1.5 x is less than or equal to negative 6. I want x by itself, so I'm going to divide by this 1.5. So for the worst times, when I take it across, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to have x is less than or equal to negative 6 divided by 1.5. And what you can say is, how many times does 1.5 go into 6? So if you count, it's 1.5. If you add another one, it's 3. Add another one, it's 4.5. Add another one, it's 6. So it goes into 6 4 times. So x is less than or equal to negative 4 because we keep that negative sign. And that is our final answer for this one. I really hope that video helped. That is the end of this question paper. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you'd like me to do any other videos. Thank you for watching.